See, the game is lame and absurd, but you spit. You need to sit back and observe a certified pimp.
He's so fly.
Oh, yes, he is.
I mean, that boy, that's the shit.
He's a mess, he is.
Fresh to death.
Ain't nobody fresh as he is.
They can't compare.
Won't get next to him
Because
he's so fly.
I mean, the boy's so clean. From his white tee on down to those jeans. You see the ice in the pinky.
What is good, everybody? It's your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience coming to you live tonight. Unscheduled, but this is my daily commentary, so you never know when I'm going to jump on and just kind of rant and rave about whatever. All right, so, hold on, let me turn that fan off. That shit's loud in my ear. We got a lot going on. You know, I was trying to get away from the political commentary, but it just can't be avoided. It really can't. Oh, by the way, how do you like the new look? You know, we are so caught up in computer screens and tech and all that shit, so I figured, you know, I add a little something to kind of give it an old school television flair. So hope you like it, because this is what it's going to be moving forward. I spent a lot of time this past week, you know, getting the studio back in order. Had to tear everything down last week and put it all back together one by one. Checked all my cables and wiring and all that, you know, to make sure everything was right. So anyway, what's happened? Man, so much. Federal judges upheld the previous ruling of a lower court judge that Trump can't send troops into Chicago. Now, is he going to pay attention to the judge's orders? Probably not. This administration is so lawless that you know, we really don't know what's going to happen from day to day, you know, with Trump. Let's see which way. All right, here we go. Just trying to get my bearings straight on the screen here, because I got a lot of shit going on, and it's just crazy right now. It's really crazy. All right, so anyway, though, yeah, we know Trump doesn't like to, you know, follow court orders. You know, it's not something that's in his DNA. And unfortunately, what we have to deal with is a completely lawless government right now, who really, you know, really has no regard for the rule of law, and unfortunately, you know, that's bad for us, because the Constitution was established specifically for that purpose, that law would be the guiding factor for how government was run and how our public society, you know, would run as well. Right now, we have a criminal who has established himself as a mini dictator. He wants to be a dictator so bad. And let me tell you, we are just less than an inch away from being full-scale autocracy in this country. I was just speaking to someone earlier at how the United States, you know, is, well, not the United States, but Donald Trump and his administration is following the Adolf Hitler playbook to the letter. Started out, with deploying federal agents, to city streets, claiming that federal buildings needed to be protected from protesters who he is now calling protesters terrorists. Think about that. Our president, not my president, your president. Yeah, unfortunately, he's our president. He's the president of this country. I didn't vote for him, but he is calling American citizens terrorists because they are protesting against his fascist tactics. And this is why he's so hard, on Antifa, because he's fascist. His administration is fascist. That's why he hates Antifa so much. Even though Antifa is not a group, it's not an organization, it's an ideology that all Americans should hold. Every single red-blooded American should be Antifa, anti-fascist. But Trump and MAGA are fascists in every sense of the definition. Look it up for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. Read it for yourself. Find out what a fascist is. It's not what you feel it is. There are very broad definitions as to what fascism is, and socialism and communism, which he likes to throw around a lot in regards to Democratic politicians. Loves to call them communists and socialists. And you know what? Socialism, in some part isn't a bad thing. Because we have to be socialistic in order to get along. We got to take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? We all need each other. Contrary to popular belief, immigrants are not poisoning the blood of our country. That is one of the biggest lies ever told by Donald Trump. And how could you even make sense of that? America was built on immigration, illegal immigration, if you want to be technical about it, because the goddamn natives did not invite the pilgrims to come here. And that's something that, all of you need to keep in mind. America was established on illegal immigration. When Trump talks about the Mexicans and all the other people coming across the border, they were here first, actually. Mexico held a large portion of what is now the United States, and through shady ass dealings, warfare, and straight up thievery, the American government, took land, and basically ran the natives off, and the natives that didn't leave were heavily oppressed. You know what I'm saying? And so now we got what we got. It's been 250 years in the making. That this country has been continuing to grow and thrive and build on racism and hate. And I hear so many people saying, oh, America's not a racist country. Yes, the hell it is. It was built on racism. Slavery only ended 160 years ago. That's not that long ago. You know what I'm saying? My great-grandparents were born into slavery. Think about that shit. For those of you that are my age, I'm 60 years old. Our great-grandparents were born into slavery. Some of them, a lot of them, not all. And not all black folks were slaves in America. In fact, not all black folks were brought here as slaves. Africans were here long before the Europeans were here. It's been documented, archaeological fact. So a lot of people, though, fail to educate themselves, on how the migration of peoples and such, has happened over the centuries. All throughout South and Central and South America, there's archaeological evidence that Africans were here long before Europeans. And just the other day, we had Columbus Day. Do you understand that Christopher Columbus never, ever in his life set foot on mainland America? He only made it to the Caribbean. He never set foot on mainland America. So what does that tell you? The Europeans take credit for discovering America, discovering the new land. How the fuck can you discover something when people were already here? And they were standing on the fucking beach watching y'all sail in, saying, who the fuck is this? And the Pilgrims damn near died. If it wasn't for the indigenous people, those first group of pilgrims would have died. They had no idea how to survive. So the indigenous people helped them get through that first winter, but all the Europeans gave them was disease and pestilence and thievery. So, look, truth hurts. That's how this country came together, on the backs of oppressed people, stolen land, and it's been duplicated over and over again. Europeans are chronic oppressors and thieves. They've stolen everything they got from other people and other cultures. It's happening again right in front of us as the European Israelis are committing mass genocide in Palestine. Yes, I call it Palestine because it didn't become the state of Israel until 1948, I believe it was. And that was designated by the then British Empire, who didn't own the land. And the Palestinian peoples was there, and they're like wondering what the fuck is going on. Who are these white people coming in here claiming this land, in the name of their God, and saying that now we're going to establish, our state. Why didn't the British give the Jewish people Germany? It was Germany that persecuted and tried to exterminate the Jewish people. And mind you, Jewish people are not a separate race. They are ethno-religious, what do they call it? An ethno-social religious group. And which means they're a group of people who share ethnic similarities, social similarities, and religious commonality. So, but they're not a different race of people. They're just white people from Europe, mostly Slavics, Germanics. Yiddish is a Germanic language. It's not a Semitic language. Hebrew is a Semitic language, but these people, basically stole the culture, from whoever the original Jews were, which is looking to be Africans as well, Ethiopians. I've heard there's evidence that shows that possibly the Africans who were brought here in bondage were probably the lost Jewish tribe, the original Jewish tribe, or the missing or tribe, or however you want to call it. I know a lot of you think I sound crazy, but hey, research, read. Something that Donald Trump and MAGA is trying to eliminate is education. It was just not too long ago Donald Trump said, "Smart people don't like me." Those are his words, not fake news. Donald Trump's words out of his own rotten ass mouth. Smart people don't like me. You know why? Because smart people know the truth. Smart people have education behind them, knowledge, behind them that allows them to see the truth for what it is and not his version of it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to be learned, and history is being repeated right now. We are on the fast track to a modern day Nazi empire, or whatever you want to call it. But if we don't stop it, a lot more people are going to suffer because of it. As it stands right now, we the people still have the power. So y'all better pay attention, man. I don't have much confidence in 2026 midterm elections. I think the fix is in, as I said yesterday on my TikTok stream. And I definitely have no confidence in 2028. I do believe in all my heart that 2028 it's going to require a military option to get Donald Trump out of the White House if he survives that long. Because we all know he is not well. He is not healthy. He is not doing well at all. Even though he lies and says, he acts like he's the healthiest man on the planet Earth, and I don't know what doctors he has that he claims are telling him that he's the healthiest person they've ever seen. But if they're telling him that, they're definitely lying, just like him. But he made lying okay. It's fashionably okay now. It's politically okay now to be just an outright pathological liar because the president says so. It's okay. Don't believe what you see and what you know to be the truth. Believe what he says. That's basically how it goes. So anyway, like I said, we're headed on a fast track to a new Nazi empire, basically. He's following the Adolf Hitler playbook to the letter, deploying troops on the streets of America, which is illegal and unconstitutional. Our U.S. soldiers are not trained nor commissioned or enlisted to be law enforcement within our borders. Their mission and job is to protect us from foreign invaders and domestic enemies. All enemies, foreign and domestic. But according to Trump, that's why he calls protesters the enemy. People that don't agree with his policies are the enemy to him. So that's his justification for deploying troops to the streets of Chicago and Los Angeles and Portland and more cities to come, Memphis. Notice too, they're all Democratic run cities because they directly oppose his policies. They directly oppose his administration and his tactics. Thank God we still have a few judges who still have the integrity to rule against his bullshit. So there we have that. The next thing is that Donald Trump is trying to start a war with Venezuela. I honestly think Donald Trump wants World War III. I honestly think that he believes that he, as a dictator, could win World War III. He has arguably the most powerful military uh, in human history, under his thumb. Hopefully, we'll start to see cracks, and hopefully the generals and admirals won't follow any unlawful orders that might lead us to annihilation and damnation. But it remains to be seen as they're continuing to root out those admirals and generals who don't agree with his policies. Just today, uh, um, four-star admiral, U.S. Navy admiral who was in command of the Latin American forces, announced that he'll be retiring. General Halsey, or Admiral Halsey, um, announced that he would be retiring, and he's only been in the position for about a year and some months. It's typically a 3-year billet, but reports are coming out that he was opposed to the boat strikes that Trump has been ordering in the Caribbean, claiming that they were Venezuelan drug dealers and traffickers, and even if they were, president has no authority to just order military strikes without justification. He's presented no proof whatsoever that these boats were hauling drugs coming to the United States. And again, even if they were, there's still a legal process that the president must go through to get authorization to order military strikes. He can't just say, you know what, they're threatening us, so we're going to attack them, and blow them out of the water. He can't do that, even though he's done it already 5 times now. They just struck the 5th boat just a day or two ago. But I just recently heard a couple hours ago that there were survivors from this last strike. So it's going to be interesting to hear what they have to say if they survive to speak. Another retarded ass thing that Donald Trump has done yesterday, he publicly announced that he's authorized the CIA to operate in Venezuela. Who does that? What kind of idiot announces to the whole world that I'm sending my premier covert agency into your country to do what it is they do? So guess what? Now Venezuela knows, and the whole rest of the world knows, that, hey, the United States is probably trying to spy on us internally and trying to disrupt our operations and interfere in our in our society and culture. Now, if that happened here, if another world leader said that about us, said, hey, what if Vladimir Putin, came out tomorrow and says, hey, I'm authorizing the FSB to enter the United States and do what it is that they do, America would be in an uproar, as we should be. What the fuck you mean you're sending your spy organizations into our country? Even though they're already here, believe it or not. We have spies from everywhere already operating in this country, even Israeli spies. Think about that. Even the Israelis are spying on us. Our allies spy on us. We spy on them. But you don't fucking publicly announce that shit. That's not. That's neither tactically or strategically sound in any way whatsoever. Which lets you know that Donald Trump has absolutely no clue of what the fuck he's doing, other than the fact that I do believe he knows that he's tearing down the very cornerstones of our society and culture. He's destroying America from the inside out, and I think he's doing it purposely, and not on his orders. I think he's definitely a puppet, for Putin and who else? Who knows? Anybody that will pay him and stroke his ego. It came out when a week or two ago that it was first reported that the Qataris were going to build a base here in the United States in Idaho, but then they cleaned it up. They said no, 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 we're just allowing them to use a portion of an American base, for them to park their F-15s, so that they can do whatever it is they. What the fuck does Qatari need to bring F-15s into the United States for? What for? Make that shit make sense. Qatar is not a global power. They're not out here protecting anybody else, or policing the world as the United States has done since World War II, since the end of World War II. They don't have a global force, but we're going to allow Qatari military forces to take over a portion of an American air base so that they can operate within the United States borders. Does that even sound sensible in any way? But hey, Qatar did gift Donald Trump with a $400 million 747, so I guess this is Trump's way of saying thank you. You know what? We're gonna give you an F-15 base here in the States. Thank you for the 747. Only in this bizarro world that Donald Trump has created does shit like this happen. But anyway, as I said, he's trying to start a war with Venezuela, and if you ask why, then I guess you're probably, a little slow. Venezuela is one of the largest oil producing countries here in the Western Hemisphere. And Donald Trump has already made it clear that he wants to control the world's energy production. Now, the United States already outproduces everybody else when it comes to oil production. And it wasn't because of Donald Trump. We've been the world's biggest oil producer since the Obama administration. Since the Obama administration, we've been the world's biggest oil producer. But the unique thing about U.S. oil production is that we produce it here, and then we ship it over to Saudi Arabia so that they can refine it, and then they sell it back to us. Make that shit make sense. We do have a few new refineries, but up until about 6 or 7 years ago, there hadn't been a new refinery built in the United States in over 40 years. But I spent some time up in North Dakota back in 2014 and 15, and they were building a diesel refinery and a couple of natural gas refineries. They're online now as far as I know, but we still don't use our own oil, technically. Like I said, we ship it out of the country to be refined by the Saudis, and it's shipped back to us. But then another thing that a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of the companies in Saudi Arabia are American companies like Exxon Mobil. I think British Petroleum is in Saudi. It was America and Europe that did a lot of the oil development and research and development in Saudi Arabia. Of course, the Saudi Arabians royal family are collecting uh, all of the profits from that, um, as they should. It's their country, shit. You know, um, how can we lay claim to somebody else's products? But we've done that for many, many centuries. Africa has been exploited by European and American research and development for decades. Uh, and now though, but we're seeing a big turnaround. A lot of African nations are kicking out the Europeans, mostly the French, um, but they definitely don't want us there. The Chinese are there, but the Chinese are making big investments in a lot of African countries, like real investments, building infrastructure and shit like that. They've outpaced the United States in terms of goodwill gestures in Africa, which I think was always a major mistake of the United States, uh, not investing in African resources. We've invested enough in stealing their resources, but not developing the countries that we've been stealing from. And so hey, Burkina Faso is a superstar in Africa, and I'm all for what Ibrahim Traore is doing. He's taking back his country. He's developing the resources internally and building infrastructure for his people, as it should have always been. And a lot of other African nations are doing the same thing now, getting the colonizers out and taking care of themselves. I ain't mad at them. I ain't mad at them at all. But it is what it is. But you know what? I do want to mention that we are looking for artists to promote here on the channel. As many of you may or may not know, I spent a little over 30 years in the music industry as a producer and manager. And so I don't want this channel to be exclusively politically motivated. I'm wanting to get back to my roots and promoting independent music, because the music industry sucks right now. The garbage that they're putting out, especially in the hip hop community, is sickening. So I'm looking for artists who want to get themselves promoted and presented absolutely free. I'm not charging y'all anything. Just send me your links to your YouTube channels, your SoundClouds, or wherever you got your music, and we'll get it up. Contact me. You can direct message me or email us at crazybabytv@gmail.com, and let's talk. Even bring you on to a live stream for an artist interview. Looking for rappers, singers, comedians, and even small businesses that want to tell the world about their newfangled product. But we won't be selling shit. So when you go to our website, you won't find any store, or any shopping carts or no shit like that. I'm not pushing merchandise. That's not what I do. I'm not a salesman, not trying to be, not trying to get in y'all's pockets for anything. So indie artists, be seen, be heard, be relevant. Send us your links and get in touch, and let's talk about getting you presented to the world. All right, so back to the lecture at hand. Hold on, it's hot now. We're in trouble, y'all. The world's going crazy, and Donald Trump is the key to the anarchy that's happening now. And something has to be done. What? I don't know. I don't have all the answers or solutions. All I know is that something has to be done. I normally would say get out the vote, but I don't think that's going to work this next time around at all. So who knows? We will see. But that's about it for tonight. It's my short commentary, daily commentary. I'm Ken Jackson. It's been the Ken Jackson Experience. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, because every now and then I might talk about something that might be useful to you. But you won't know if you're not subscribed, because you'll miss out. Mostly though, let's have fun, be kind, love each other, and don't give in to the nonsense. There's so much bullshit going around out there. Keep your family healthy, stay safe, and I will catch y'all Sunday night, 9 p.m. is a regular show, the Ken Jackson Experience on Crazy Baby TV World, right here on YouTube. Check us out. Phone lines will be open Sunday night. I'll be taking live phone calls, so if you got something to comment, something you want to talk about, hit me up. The number will be up on the screen during the show. So like I said, feel free to call in, voice your opinion. Nothing's off limits. You can mention anything you want. All I ask is that you be respectful, because if you're not, then I'll drop your ass. Plain and simple. It's my show, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to respond to whatever you ask me either. But like I said, I welcome all input, all comments. Blase, blase, blase. All right, y'all. Everybody have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay frosty, and I will see y'all next time. Peace. I'm out.